Welcome to episode 3 of the Speakeasy podcast. My name is Adonis. I'm joined in studio, as I always am, by my two homies here, Luis and Matt. Hey guys.
Hello.
All right, so today we have another fun episode planned. We're going to be digging into some interesting topics, as we always do. But I wanted to kick this week's episode off with just a little bit of a disclaimer. So you guys are gonna be getting this episode a week early. So the regular schedule for the episode is every 2 weeks, but I'm actually gonna be going on a little family vacation this week. So we're gonna be getting this out to you guys a week early. So if you're like, oh man, every week I gotta tune into this show, no, don't worry. All right, it's still bi-weekly, but yeah, due to some scheduling issues, yeah, we're gonna be dropping one a week after last week. So I guess it depends on when you're listening to this. You could be listening to this 6 weeks from now, so disregard if you are. But for everybody else, a little special treat for you, a weekly release this week. So yeah, I'm taking my daughter to Sesame Place in Chula Vista, California.
You must be so excited.
I actually am. She is a huge fan of the street. So it'll be exciting to see her getting to interact with all the different characters. I'm excited to see how she reacts. She could be terrified of the sort of, life-size version of these puppets that she sees on TV. So, yeah. Do you guys remember the first time you went to an amusement park or a theme park when you were a kid?
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Share those stories.
Yeah. Okay, cool. Well, before, what made you choose Sesame Street?
She's just into it.
Yeah.
And she's still young. She's 2. So if we're gonna do the Sesame Street thing, it would need to be, relatively soon, because I have a feeling she's gonna outgrow it sometime in the near future. So I want to make sure she's still all in to Sesame Street.
Cool. But yeah, no, my first amusement park was actually Disneyland in California. I remember that my parents both saved up, and then we had family visiting, so the whole thing was they wanted the kids. We were I think I was probably 6, 7, or 8.
Okay.
My little brother was younger. I had a cousin. We had a couple cousins that went to, and then of course my little sister was being carried around everywhere. So, but I remember just the interactions with my parents more so than some of the rides or anything. It was just it was a big deal to be there. They went all out. We still have our Mickey hats. So very, very special.
Nice.
So the first one that I remember, because again, I think my mom took me when I was a baby to Disneyland, but the first one I remember was when I was about 5 years old. It was when I realized that a parent can look at you with a smile on their face, but be lying 100% about what's about to happen. I'm from Virginia, and we went to Busch Gardens, which is a popular amusement park out there. And I remember just doing all the different rides, having a really great time. But then what ended up happening is I got to get a little bag of the baked peanuts, and I just started stuffing my mouth with these things. Unfortunately, I was not paying attention to the way that our group moved, and my mom and my family went to the left, and I kept going straight. And I'm just sitting there eating, and then I look around, I'm like, oh my God, I'm by myself. And I just hear my mom screaming, Matthew. And I was freaking out too, because I was like, oh my God, I lost my mom. She runs over, she gets me, and everyone's because this attendant came and helped her find me. And she's like, oh, thank you so much. I'm so happy I found him. She's like, are you okay? I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay, we're just going to go to the bathroom really quick. The fastest spank I ever got. Bam. Why are you not paying attention? Because it's kids, that's scary, man. I couldn't fathom. I'm not a parent, so it's if I lost my kid at an amusement park, I'm not going to spank my kid, but I'm going to be you gotta help me. You gotta be paying attention. But yeah, Busch Gardens I would think I was about 5 or 6 when we went, and it was just bunch of roller coasters. Like they have like Apollo's Chariot, many loop-de-loops. It was a great time.
Nice.
Outside of the spanking that I may or may not have deserved.
Yeah. Hey, I
we
mean,
can get into that later if you really want to. But
yeah, that's a. I was gonna say that's a topic for maybe a different day. But cool. Yeah. So we are going to before we get into any other conversation topics.
No,
Obviously,
man, what's your first one?
yeah,
You don't get to get away with that.
yeah,
We're talking
first
about
amusement park.
oh, we didn't do amusement parks. Sorry.
Oh no.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. I grew up a single mom. Well, I didn't grow up a single mom. I grew up the child of a single parent, and there was 5 of us in my household. So, yeah, trips for us were trips to the grocery store or trips to the park.
Gotcha.
My mom did the best she could, obviously, with the resources that we had. But yeah, it was definitely, we were not taking trips to theme parks. So probably the first time I ever went to a theme park. Well, unless you count like Cedar Point or like Kings Island. I don't know if those names mean anything to you guys, but
Not one.
okay. So big. Those are big theme parks in the Midwest. Yeah, probably when I was in high school, went to Cedar Point. But yeah, no, it wasn't a thing for us growing up. I went with my wife to Universal Studios in California, probably when I was like 25. That was probably the first theme park that I had ever been to.
Oh, dang.
A really cool experience. We went to the Wizarding World of Harry Potter, which was nice, but like it's just merch. Like I mean, you're just there to spend money. It was really cool for me. That was a really cool experience just because being able to see like the Hogwarts castle, even though obviously it wasn't real, but like it was very large and it was very cool, and it was like Harry Potter is a huge part of my life. Again, conversation for another day maybe. But it was just a really cool experience to see a nearly like life-size version of this place that has played such a huge part in my life. So yeah, honestly, like that was probably the coolest part, was just seeing the castle up close. The food was good, but I feel like it's a experience that's more designed for younger kids. But it was a good time. It was definitely a good time. I don't know if I would need to do it again, and I don't know if I would have, because we got the 2-day pass. I think I probably would have been good with just a single day, like one time
entire day
experience. Yeah, like it's not really, not really my thing. Now that I have a child, though, I'm sure those experiences will be different because you're going for your kid. You're not going for yourself. But yeah, that's my answer.
Okay.
Now we can jump into our drink of the day, which is Matt's choice this week. We're going to highlight the Bahama Mama. So, Matt, tell us a little bit about why you chose this drink. Tell us a little bit about your history with it, and then we'll get into a breakdown of what it is.
So I chose this drink because I'm a really big fruity drinker. I love the sweet stuff. If I can't tell that it's liquor, I'm having a great time. I think my history with the drink is it was either at an Applebee's. No, we were at like a main event, and we were all just doing bowling because the picture just came back up on my memories, and so it was like us, Katie, Chelsea, every one of us was playing bowling, and the guy like makes this joke because I was like, hey, what are Bahama Mamas like? He's like, I would really call them like Bahama Mamas. He's like, because like they take you out, and I was like, let me get one of these. I drank that thing so fast, super delicious, and ever since then I've always loved them because it's just alcoholic juice, and I am in for alcoholic juice.
Yeah. No, they are pretty tasty. So funnily enough, my mom used to love these, like when we went to Applebee's or we went out. So that's a fitting name for the drink, I guess. Not to say that it's a mom drink, Matt, but
Hey, I do like moms, so that's good for me.
But yeah, no, I do enjoy it. It's fruity, it's refreshing. It's got a nice little zing to it. Luis, as the resident bartender of the group, what are your thoughts on the Bahama Mama?
So you guys saw me make it, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Like this time, I guess this is Matt's second cup, by the way.
It is.
Yeah, that's how quick he finished his first one. So, my thoughts on the Bahama Mama, like it's refreshing. For me, the grenadine is just a little bit too sweet because it's got, it's got the grenadine, it's got orange juice, it's got pineapple, and it's got the two different rums and a little bit more citrus. So I feel like that's just way too much sugar for me. But it's good, and like Matt said, like, did you taste the alcohol?
No.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a beach drink,
Yeah,
it's something
refreshing.
to sip on, during, your vacations to somewhere where there's a bright sun and sand between your toes. You're probably not going to want to be sipping on an old fashioned, while you're on a beach, So there's a place for every drink. So, it's definitely, it's refreshing. It's light. It tastes good.
Yeah.
Can't deny the fact that it tastes good.
Yeah, I think you hit it like nail on the head, Adonis. It 100% is the drink, the vacation drink.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like this is like I'm just looking out to the water. I'm just sipping my alcoholic juice.
Yeah.
And just like, do I have to worry about tomorrow? I don't,
Yeah.
because I'm on vacay. So yeah, that's why I like the Bahama Mama so much. I am on my second drink, just because I love it so much.
Drink up. It's technically still, it's not your birthday month anymore, but it's still the month of your birthday. So hey, take advantage.
I will.
All right. So yeah, let's jump into some actual conversation. So I don't know if you guys knew this. Actually, before we get into this, I did have a couple of things I wanted to pitch your way. So Matt, I wanted to see if you could give the people a little bit of a breakdown of what's going on with the Switch 2. Like, obviously, it was announced a couple of weeks ago on Nintendo's, what is it, the Nintendo Direct?
Yes.
They do. So they announced it. They announced that it was dropping in June. Cost came out, $450 for the console itself. Then there was a pre-order date that they said pre-orders would be live by, I think, April 9th was the original date, but then that got pushed back. So can you break down? You're a video game person. Do you know the drama, what's going on? I've been seeing a lot of people upset about the price of some of the games. Can you give us a little bit of a breakdown of what's going on with the Switch 2?
Yeah, so the Switch 2 is kind of really talking pretty big about their charging for how much they kind of like they now invest into their games, how much like the return on the product they're putting out. So yeah, the system is going to be $450 to like $500, and the video games, Mario Kart 9, I think is what it's World. Sorry, thank you. Is the first one that's dropping with it, and that game is going to be $80 if you're buying it outside of the bundle. And people are freaking out now because they're like, our video game is going to start being $80. Because even Sony, they're $59.99 or $69, sorry, depending. And it's just people are getting really scared that like with these hikes, is gaming going to become too expensive?
What's the like average cost for a new video game currently on other systems?
So I think with PlayStation, it's like $69.99.
Okay, so we're talking a $10 increase.
Yeah.
Okay. So
For a Switch, which Switch is like, in this day and age, the Switch 2 now is being compared to like graphic wise. It's going to be like playing your PS4, like your PS4 Pros. So right now, though, we're on our PS5s and our Xbox Ones. Those can play at like 60 frames a second, and depending.
yeah,
And those have better graphics, but are way cheaper.
I was gonna say, but that's never been like Nintendo's bag, though, right? They've never
No.
been the like, oh, we're gonna make these super hyper realistic games with these like super high, technical aspects that are leagues above the rest of the market. They've always just, in my opinion, I'm not a gamer, but from what I've seen, Nintendo's always just been about fun. It's always been about just like what's the most entertaining game that we can make. So my sort of pushback against like people who are going ape shit, because I live on Reddit, and people on Reddit are just going ape shit about the $80 price tag on Mario Kart World. And my pushback on it is like it's not like they've said it's going to be like all new games are going to be $80. Like I think a couple of the other new games like Donkey Kong Bonanza has come out and said that that's just going to be the standard like $60-$70 price tag. So a lot of their games aren't going to have that $80 price tag. I don't know the logic or the thought process behind making Mario Kart an $80 game other than the fact that they know people are going to buy it.
Right.
And they know people are going to play it as in groups. So they're like, most likely you're not going to be playing this game by yourself. So maybe we can make it a little bit more expensive so that when you're doing, a 4-player game with your family at home, you're going to be feeling like you're getting the most for your money. I don't know. I'm not a Nintendo exec, so I can't say, but I just feel like it's a little bit of a like overreaction. Just from the outside looking in, someone who's not a gamer, like I think, like you said, $70 games are already a reality. So like an extra $10 for like a tent pole video game doesn't seem so dramatic to me. It seems like maybe people are just panicking for no reason. And also, you can get it bundled and $500 for the Switch 2 and Mario Kart Party or World.
Yeah.
So it's like $50 if you just, and most people probably are going to buy it with the release of the system. So again, I don't see the hubbub about it, but again, I'm not a gamer. I know, Luis, you're sort of in the middle, right? You're not a super gamer, but you're also someone who does play video games.
Yeah, so and I used to play like video games a lot more, like that religiously. Like I would get out of junior high, and as soon as I was out of classes and I got home, I'd jump on whatever console I had and I played for 4 or 5 hours every single day. And it got to the point to where I didn't find much amusement doing that anymore and playing by myself. I'd rather just be with a group of people or out and about.
Fair enough.
But I actually have like a little bit more of the background to this because I still collect. Like Nintendo's a big part of
Sure,
all of our lives, and Pokemon's a big part of mine. And so like one of the things that they were talking about was the Switch and the new Pokemon game coming out, and they were talking about like, well, in Japan, they have the same bundle for Pokemon, but it's about $100 cheaper if you buy the Japanese version bundle. And you do the conversion, it comes out to like $37.99 plus tax, just about. And part of it, I think, is just like production, right? You have to produce a physical item and you have to ship it. And where's most production these days? It's not in the U.S., right?
That's fair. Yeah.
So you got to import, you got to break down the cost. With everything going on, like it's going to be a little bit more expensive. I definitely agree with you on the fact that like we're bumping it like $100 than what it used to be, or like $20 on the game from what it used to be. Because like even when we went up from $40 games to about $60 games, I was like, man, I really gotta like this game in order to buy it, or I'll just wait till they put it on discount. Like, but then, I mean, discounts haven't really been happening this last couple of years. So I think
that's what. Sorry, I don't mean to cut you off,
No.
but I've heard that that's sort of also a thing with Nintendo, is that their games don't ever really go on sale. Like it's like
Nope.
Mario Kart 8 is probably the same price as it was when it dropped, so they don't really have that sort of, oh, we can just wait till it goes on sale type of mentality.
Yeah.
Which I can understand why people are frustrated against that. But apparently that's never been a thing. Like apparently that's always been a Nintendo sort of rule.
Yeah, and so like there's another part to it is like I hear that they're trying to push more for digital content.
Oh,
Yes.
Which like if you're gonna buy a system, knowing the PS4, the Xbox is like, I don't know how Switch is gonna do it, or Nintendo, because like you have to have enough space. Yeah, you can add SD cards, I think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That's the only thing you really can do.
but it takes up a lot, and like you think about these games, like if you buy the biggest version, it's gonna be an extra $200 for the system, right?
Yeah.
And then digital content, but they're saying, oh, we'll discount it like $5. I'm like, $5 less for a digital version, it adds up, but then you're converting that price to like space. So
Yeah, I did see something. Also, someone on Reddit posted. There was a post, and it was like, Nintendo makes it official. $80 price tag on Breath of the Wild for Switch 2, and it was like if you read the article, it's not an $80 price tag. It's
No,
the
it's
$10 upgrade fee for the Switch 2. So
Yep.
if you paid $70 for Breath of the Wild originally, it's an extra $10, which makes it $80. But like that's such a misleading headline, like
Yeah.
saying $80 for Breath of the Wild on Switch 2.
Well, and then
It's like
that's for the added on graphics that they said that they were working
yeah,
on.
and
right?
all the extra bonus stuff like the
But here's another point to this is like Nintendo has been leaning more towards more microtransactions in the last 4 or 5 years. Like everything is now a DLC that you add on, or at least some of the like characters if you want to buy characters, if you buy the skins, all that stuff.
But that's everyone, right? Though that's not just Nintendo.
Yeah, that is everyone. I just see it more of like it's required for some of the main Pokemon games. Like you remember, I mean,
I've played. I don't game. I've played all of Pokemon Legends Arceus,
Mhm.
and I've played all of what was the other one that just came out?
Sword and Shield, or Violet and Scarlet.
Violet, Scarlet, and Violet.
Yeah.
And I can tell you, I played those games. I got a lot of enjoyment out of them. I didn't buy a single thing. Like I spent no additional money on those games
for the DLCs that they added on.
Nothing. Yeah. So again, as just a casual gamer, like that might be a thing for people who want to be like super serious about it and get all the trophies, and I don't know what you kids do, but
You
like
gotta get them all.
but for someone like me who just wants to play the game and enjoy it, like I played it. I didn't buy. We play Mario Kart a lot. Not a lot, but we do play it some, and I've never paid for any additional anything on Mario Kart. Zelda's, like I have both Tears of the Kingdom and Breath of the Wild. I never paid for any additional content on those games. So again, maybe for the true enthusiasts who want to get the most out of those games, there are obviously microtransactions. But I can say personally, as someone who's owned a Switch, that I have never paid for any additional anything.
So, like, let's bring it back though. What's the most you would pay? It's as like Matt being our pro gamer over here. Like, what's the most you would pay? Are you gonna buy it? And what's the most?
I was say better question.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are you planning to buy a Switch too?
Yes. Yeah, no, I am. I already reached out to Best Buy. I already submitted the like, hey, let me know when it goes on pre-order because I will be buying one. To your question of what's the most that I would pay. Video games have these crazy things, right? You pre-order them and they have certain editions like the deluxe edition, the collector's edition. I have 100% spent probably $200 on pre-ordering a game, but that was because it was Baldur's Gate 3. It came with a little statue, and it came with like a few other things. So it's like you could make the argument that it's like, no, you only spent the $65 to pre-order the game, but I spent the $300 to get the big collector's edition. So if it's a game that I love, I would pre-order it. I would spend the money to pre-order it, whatever it may be.
Like $1,000.
I mean, at that point, that's just absolutely absurd. If a video game got that high, I wouldn't even be a video gamer anymore. I couldn't afford it at that point.
Yeah, there's a line. So I guess we'll close this conversation with that question, Luis. Are you planning to buy a Switch too?
No.
No.
I barely use my Switch 1,
Okay.
So I'm going to ride this one until I can. And then once I absolutely have to make the switch over for whatever I'm playing, if I end up playing, then, I might buy one, but it'll be like secondhand.
Is ZA a Switch 2 exclusive, or is
No,
that
it's not.
no? Okay.
Yeah. So
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that would have sucked if ZA was going to be only on the Nintendo 2. That's
Then-
like,
yeah.
the Switch 2, I mean.
then they would have then I would have had to.
Even
buy it.
forced.
Yeah. And
I'm not going to buy it. Pokemon's on the next game. I mean.
Yeah. To Matt's point, I have bought like console exclusives. So like
Mm.
I have the Modern Warfare 3 for the Xbox 360 that came with everything. The Spider-Man PS4. And those were things that like I'd been playing for years. That was my main game, and so like I did that. And so I agree with you. Like anything like that, if the thing with that is that like for Nintendo, they do these sort of consoles like every single like they've got a Mario special one, they've got the Pikmin special.
Oh,
and
yeah.
So like it's too much to like have to keep up with it. So no, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna see if I can pick one out. And then as far as the games, like if I can still play them on my Switch, I'm gonna play them on my Switch. Hopefully, I'm not dropping the $80.
No, I will not be buying a Switch 2. not for a while at least. Someone I saw online was like, I'll wait for the OLED version, which is crazy that this like it's not an OLED right off the bat. It's
I
wild.
could not believe that.
Yeah.
I just found that out a couple days ago that the Switch 2 coming out is not OLED, and I was like, "You cheap bastard!"
Is it cheap, or are they just planning for the future? So that
No,
in
they
in
super
a few
are.
years they can say switch to OLED. Yeah.
Luis called it out really pretty apt. It's one thing that's kind of always annoyed me with Nintendo. And again, it's not just Nintendo. Everybody does it. The God of War edition PlayStation 4, the I don't know, Gears of War Xbox actually might be a thing.
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, the Final Fantasy. I had the Final Fantasy PlayStation 4 actually. But yeah, no, they all do this, and eventually, yeah, it's like the Switch 2 OLED, the Switch 2 Lite, the Switch 2 Mini, or whatever the hell they're gonna call it. It is for that, and I find that to be really lame. So I'll buy my Switch 2 that gets released, and I will play with it as I need to for my Pokemon games, and that's it.
Yeah, okay. This is gonna be me like just showing where I'm at with this. Like, what's the difference between the OLED and the like original Switch? Like, I never got that.
So you need to open up your special eyes, and you need to see the colors pop a little bit more. It's just like it's like ultra high def versus high def, essentially.
And the screen, I know the screen is a little bit bigger.
Yes,
and
always.
it also apparently has a much better battery life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like for those who are frame whores, that's kind of the thing, is that it really makes the colors, not frames, but it makes the colors pop. But I'm a PC gamer now, so it's like it's a Switch. It's not gonna be that wild, but it will be great for when you're sitting there on your TV, because your handheld's never gonna be that strong.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, and you brought that up at the top, about the specs, so if you're a person who appreciates specs, then, and if I don't know if the OLED version was worth an upgrade from if you already had a Switch, but I think if you didn't have a Switch and you were choosing between the OLED and the normal version, like paying the extra $50 or whatever it was for the OLED version, I think that's something that, makes sense for a lot of people.
I mean, I think you also hit it right on the nose, though, is that like for Nintendo, and I think this is unfortunately always going to be the case unless like they get ahead of the curve. The graphics aren't going to be anything where I need to be like, oh my goodness, 4K.
Yeah, but you're playing Donkey Kong and Kirby. Like, do you
exactly? I don't want.
What do you? Yeah, like what? Or Pokemon. Like you're not playing like Matt's like an Elden Ring or a Baldur's, or it's like where you need those graphics to be, tip top, and you want everything to look super cool, and it's just like no, you're playing cartoon games.
Yeah.
So
until they change that.
Yeah, which I hope they never do, because like let PlayStation and Xbox be for the serious gamers. Let Nintendo be for us casuals who just want to have fun. People. Yeah. All right, so we're gonna close out that convo. I did want to kick into. We're gonna stay in the video game realm a little bit actually, but we're gonna switch to a video game movie that recently came out. A Minecraft movie is blowing everybody out of the water in terms of ticket sales. $162 million opening weekend. That takes down the Mario Brothers movie, which brought in a staggering $146 million over their opening weekend. This topped that. People are going crazy. It's projected to have a pretty steep decline in the second week, but I don't know. No one expected it to have such a strong opening weekend. So I think in a time where we're worried about movies, where we're worried about the future of theaters, and if there's going to be enough big movies to warrant keeping theaters open, it's sort of it's a good thing, because we know people are still willing to go to the movies. It's a good thing that people are still willing to go to the movies multiple times. So those are all positives. I have been seeing some things online where there are trends going on where people are making a mess of the theaters for clout or for clicks, especially with this movie. So, Luis, you outed yourself as a movie theater general manager last episode. So, how has your experience been with the Minecraft movie? Have you had any of those terrible experiences with people throwing popcorn and drinks everywhere in the theaters?
So I'd like to say that I love my community around the movie theater, right?
Okay.
And in order to love your community, to create a community, it takes a while, and you got to be very involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I've been blessed by the work that I've put in at my own theater to where, like, I haven't seen anything as outrageous, but we were swamped, man. I will tell you that, like, so I think the original estimates for the Minecraft movie were like around the 80 million, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it doubled. Like
Yeah.
that's not something that just falls out of nowhere. It struck gold, social media wise, and it was a video game like movie. Now we're gonna have to keep an eye out for those, but yeah, we were busy nonstop last weekend, and actually I was late to one of our friends' birthday gatherings yesterday because I had to stay an extra 2 hours to give a hand and just damage control. So it hasn't been bad, but I have heard of the trend. I mean, let's talk about it. The trend is there's a scene that references the video game character of Chicken Jockey, right?
I don't play Minecraft.
You don't play? Do you play Minecraft?
I do not.
I do not play Minecraft.
I mean,
no.
I am not the target audience for the Minecraft movie. I'm not someone that's you point me in a direction, say go kill this enemy. I'm in, baby.
And
hey,
that's what
build
it is.
stuff. I can't build stuff. I'm not a builder.
Okay, but so there's a couple scenes that are iconic and make direct reference to it. But I guess at some point in the first weekend, there were some kids, and I think this was out of Australia first, in the theaters over there. But they were like, "Oh, that's so cool! Let's like try and just make the biggest festive thing out of one scene happening." And it was kind of like, for us, it would have been like Avengers, right? So Avengers Endgame, spoiler alert if no one's seen Endgame, when Captain America goes and like grabs the hammer and he goes and says Avengers Assemble, like everyone clapped, right? That's a big reference
Yeah.
to the Marvel comics and all that. So it's gotten out of hand because, like you said, it's for clout. Everyone's recording. What can I do? I'm going to record this scene. What can I do? What's the craziest thing I can do in a movie theater? So I'm going to shout. I'm going to throw my popcorn. I'm going to throw my drinks. We're going to like jump around. There was unfortunately one location. I don't know what theater, but I feel sorry for them. Where someone snuck in a live chicken to reference the point of Chicken Jockey. And so like at this point, like, everyone's doing it for the reaction, but they're not thinking of the consequences, not thinking about the other people's experience. Like, you have families going to watch this movie, and it's like, oh, your kids played it, or I might have played, I might have built something with my kid, and I'm now going to go and watch it. And at the end of the day, like, I think social media or TikTok or the trend has gotten to a point where it's borderline dangerous for some people.
Yeah.
So, again, for me, I have the support of like my managers. They're doing what they can to help out, to be preemptive. People have been doing theater checks. So I'm located thankfully next to like a mall, and they also have off-duty cops and security, and so like they're just checking in, making sure everyone's okay, everyone's safe. And like at the point of like, I think we gotta get back to like, yes, enjoy it, have fun, react to certain things when it's funny, when it's, sad, have those emotions, but also be aware, like, what's over the top, when you're like pretending or you're just looking for attention at that point, like, and, I think it's gonna die down a lot because I've seen a lot of locations, and I've seen a lot of things where like attendance is still going, but we now know how certain kids are going to react, and we're aware of it. We're giving warnings, and from that point, it's like, you chose. There's still some sort of respect. If you don't follow the rules, what's going to happen?
Yeah, maybe the tagline should be a Minecraft movie. Good for business, bad for ushers. Just because.
It is hard though too, because that was always the thing that kind of sucked when working the movie theaters is the kids who are not even just the kids, but when people do throw and make a mess. That's why I always love the Deadpool movie, because at the end he kind of made a reference about like, hey, clean up your seats and go. It's not their job them to clean up your mess.
Yeah.
So it does suck that there's a trend of like, oh my gosh, let's throw our drinks and our food. Like, one, you spent money on that sucks, or someone did at least. And then two, it's the fact that you're leaving it to where someone has to clean it up. That's lame. That sucks.
Yeah, it's disappointing. It's disappointing to say the least. But hey, it's making buku bucks. Like I said, $162 million opening weekend so far. It's grossed $220 million. In the U.S., we're at 213 overseas, so it's made $434 million worldwide in just a weekend, which $500 million in just a weekend is absurd. But I think again, it's a good thing that people are still willing to go to the movies. So I do worry that if studios start to see that these are the movies that make money, we'll just ultimately get to a point where these are the only movies that studios are willing to make or take a risk on. And as someone who is a cinephile, like, I love those sort of middle of the road, mid-budget movies where, it's nothing huge, but it's original. It's just quality filmmaking. Those could be something that, that could be an era of the past at this point if studios and production companies aren't willing to take the risk of putting those movies in theaters. So it's a little disappointing.
I have a counter to that, and I'm just thinking, like, this was a successful movie. This is a successful movie. It's going to keep going.
Yeah.
But at what cost, right? And if studios do decide to continue with these trends, with the social media and all that, I say let's put a higher price tag on those movies, because you're making people work more than they should, and then damage costs, like, that's another thing that you got to build into the ticket. So, like, if you're expecting a movie to have that sort of reaction where people are going to go crazy and just want to do that, raise the price on those feature movies, right? But then have your movies.
Dangerous game.
It is, but and let's be realistic. Otherwise, because not everyone's going to follow the rules. Not everyone's going to be respectful. So, yeah, if you absolutely have to go see this movie, then let's raise the price to it and have them go. But then for the other movies, like, a lot of times, the cheaper the matinee pricing for the good movies, and I think there's a chain. There might be 2 or 3 that they bring back the Oscar movies, but they do it at a cheaper price. I think it's like a $5, $6 ticket. So if that's the case, like, let's negotiate different pricings for different movies, expecting different crowds.
Interesting. Yeah, that's an interesting thought. I guess, again, conversation for another day. We can dig into that maybe. But yeah, I just wanted to touch on that just because it's huge right now. So yeah, with that, we're gonna take a quick break, and on the other side of it, we'll jump into some top 5 discussion, and then we'll get into some other conversation. So we'll be right back, guys. Stick around. All right, welcome back. We are going to jump into top 5. This week, we're going to be talking about our top 5 all-time favorite TV shows. Now, listen, there is a difference between favorite TV shows and the best TV shows. Like, there is a difference between everything when you're talking about your favorites versus the best. So, as all parents of multiple kids out there know, your favorite child might not be your best child. Let's be real here. Like, the one that you just happen to have a stronger connection with, he could be the dummy of the family, So
Wait, Adonis.
what?
Who's your favorite child?
I only have one child.
Who's your best child?
I only have one child. So in my case, it is both. But I'm just saying, like, if you go to a restaurant, you might have the best steak you've ever had. That doesn't mean that that's your favorite meal that you've ever had.
Yes.
So when you're talking about favorites, there's obviously going to be a personal connection to that thing versus the best where I feel like the best should strictly and only be looking at quality. If you see a movie and you're like, man, that's the best movie I've ever seen, your personal biases or whatever shouldn't come into play when judging that movie to be the best. It should just be strictly based on quality, not any sort of personal bias or any sort of personal influences. But obviously when we're talking about your favorites, there is your favorites could be whatever you want them to be. You don't have to have a reason for something to be your favorite. It's just because, hey, I liked it a lot. It's my favorite thing. So anyway, I just wanted to put that out there because there is a distinction. People like to argue that there isn't, but there clearly is. Not to say that there can't be overlap between those two things. Like just because something is the best, or just because something is your favorite doesn't mean it can't be the best, but it doesn't have to be. Anyway, so I'm just going to throw that out there. So let's get into it. We'll go to Luis first this time. Top 5 all-time favorite TV shows. 5-1. Kick it off.
5-1. I did it right this time. Number 5, The League. 4, Bob's Burgers. Number 3, The Good Place. Number 2, Ted Lasso. And number 1, Suits.
Okay. Definitely some interesting picks in there. For example, The League. I've seen episodes of The League. I've laughed. I've chuckled at a few. What's the appeal there, especially for someone who's not terribly into sports, right? You're not a big sports guy, and it's about fantasy football, right?
It's about fantasy football. And that's the thing is like I like sports, but I like interactions more. So like I could care less about like if a team is winning or losing or being like this is my team. I'm not a fanatic. That's what it is I'm not a fanatic. So with The League, just the concept of like a group of people getting together and like they're so passionate about it, and they interact and they do the craziest dumbest things, and like I laugh. I love like certain types of comedy. It's not like the straight crude comedy of like slapstick, but it's got its funny points, and the characters in there, like it doesn't age well, but it's one that I'll put back on. I think it's a little better than like Always Sunny.
Oh wow, a little better.
Wow.
Yeah, because it's lighter. Like A Little Sunny kind of takes you to lows. So, but it's there. Number 4 is Bob's Burgers. So, I mean, this is something I can put on in the background, and we were talking about it off camera in the break. Is like I love dad jokes. I'm not a dad, but I love the dad jokes. It's like the simplicity of it that like make you think, make you like seriously. So like Bob's Burgers, it's about a family. It's a cartoon. It's animated, and yeah, if I need to have something in the background that's fun, entertaining, like I'll put it on. It's nice. Clever. And then The Good Place. So The Good Place. Have you guys seen?
I've seen clips. I've never watched it though.
I finished it about a week ago. Yeah, I watched it for the first time all the way through.
Did you cry?
I didn't cry. The last like episode, I don't want to give anything away because there's a lot to give away in The Good Place, but the last episode definitely like I don't want to say got to me, but it definitely made me think. It definitely made me feel a lot in that last episode. But I didn't cry. I feel like I could have, but I didn't. But
and it's similar to that. It's like it's fun, lighthearted. It makes you think. It takes you through all the certain emotions, but then it also plays out of like what ifs, right? In life, it's like what if I did this? What if I did that? Like the moral back and forth and why, and then you see the growth of one of the main characters that is essentially there to like stop them from doing good. It's like it's supposed to be. The antagonist, but he ends up being one of the main protagonists. So I like that flip. Ted Lasso. My brother kept telling us, like, and I'm gonna get emotional, but he kept telling us, you gotta watch Ted Lasso. You gotta watch Ted Lasso. I finally got the logins for like Apple TV because I needed to watch Severance.
Legally, people. All right, Apple, if you're listening, he paid for it himself.
Yeah, I have my own Apple ID now, so we can try and
Hey, there we go.
so, yeah, like I watched Severance, loved it. I'm excited for the next season, but I saw Ted Lasso was on there, and I'm like, all right, fine, I'm gonna give it a try. Since the first second of like going into like what it was, and this is another sports,
Yeah, that's true.
is about a coach. I was just involved. It's so positive. It gives so much energy to it that like you can't help but feel and feel good. So the entire time I was like, this just feels right to watch this, to root for the coach, to see these characters grow and develop. And I mean, I loved it. I learned a lot from it. So, definitely one of my top ones. I want to go back and rewatch it already.
Is it over or is it still going?
It's over.
It's over.
It's
okay.
oh well, and I'm sure they could bring it back somehow. But I think like as far as like the main reason why the show came to be is over. Like he was a coach in like a minor league football league, American Football League, and then he went to the UK to coach an actual football team. So, and didn't know a lick of it. So
Yeah.
that's kind of why it was like
The interesting thing about Ted Lasso is like the first time, because it was a character that Jason Sudeikis did. Like, and I saw it in a movie theater ad, like I want to say like 10, 12 years ago. And it was like, I don't know if that was where the first and only thing, and I'm sure there's Ted Lasso fans out there that will correct me, but it didn't start as like this idea for a TV show. The idea for the TV show came from this like little character skit thing that they would do about this guy who was like an American getting into like soccer or football. But it was really interesting because when I first saw that it was becoming a show, I was like, I swear I have seen this character before. Like, you know, I've seen Jason Sudeikis doing this football guy. Like, this can't be a coincidence. And then, I did some research and it was like, oh, okay, yeah, it did start as like this little skit. So, but I've also heard very good things about the show. I just, for some reason, I've been hesitant to press play. I will eventually. I just finished The Good Place, so I've been sort of looking for something new to watch. So I'm sure that'll be something that I check out, especially after hearing your review. It sounds like it's good. And again, everybody that I know that has watched it has had nothing but good things to say about it. So
exactly. And I think that might be why my brother decided to like coach my niece's soccer team for cool. 3 or 4 seasons now.
Yeah.
So really, really cool. And then number 1 is Suits.
Interesting. Yeah, that, it makes sense. Now that I think of it, I didn't know you watched Suits, but it makes sense as far as what I know about you and your personality. But for people who don't know you, why is Suits your favorite show?
So the main character, he kind of just has to fake his entire life, or his job life, and I related a lot to him. Like I felt like, growing up or having life experiences, like you take a little bit of each of everything and you try and like think on your feet. You try and do everything as you can. And then it gets to a certain point where you're like hiding who you are. So like for Suits has been around for years and it's done. But for those people that don't know, is like this guy, he was in some money trouble. He accidentally stumbles into a job interview and to become to work at a law firm. And the whole premise of it is that like they ask him, or supposedly in order to work there, you have to complete the bar. And he said, "Oh yeah, I did. I'm a lawyer, right?"
Yeah,
lied. And I had to think about it. It's like, why is it my favorite one? Is because like for the longest time, like I had to lie to certain certain people in my life, some friends, schoolmates, and say, yeah, no, I'm a regular person. I'm an American citizen. And
Well, I mean, you are a regular person.
Yes.
Just because you weren't an American citizen
I
doesn't
don't
mean
think
you're not
anyone's a regular person, But American citizen for the longest time, and so like carrying that around, and he grows, right? And he's trying to learn. He has a mentor. A big part of me and in like my own development is like I've had mentors, whether it's been at AMC. Whoa. Oops. Whether it's been at my job or whether it's been maybe the Bahama was were a little too strong. But so like the mentorship and the fact that like it's not just one person growing in a mentorship, it's both people. And at the end of it, like the hardest part to swallow is like, in order to truly grow as a person, from what I saw in the TV show and when you actually like do learn and you try and become better, is that it's selfless sacrifice from every single one of the characters at the end. And I think that's admirable. Very, very admirable. So, I love the show. I love some of the stuff they get into. It's very clever.
Yeah. Didn't Meghan Markle get her start on that show?
She did.
What is she? The Duchess of, not Wales. I don't know. She's Harry's wife.
Yes.
Prince Harry's wife, not Harry from One Direction.
Harry Styles.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But she got her start on Suits.
And she came back. They closed it out.
Cool.
So
Cool.
But yeah, definitely top one. Again, I think for a lot of these, I'd probably rewatch them. The Good Place, you got to be in a certain place to be able to like rewatch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, The Good Place is really good. I would definitely recommend it. I was skeptical to start it. It's got that sort of like, type of humor where you have to commit to it, because it's sort of like just, I don't know the best way to describe it, but it's sort of like you gotta understand that this is a show that's trying to be funny. It's very funny a lot of the time, but sometimes it comes across as, okay, you guys are just trying to be funny.
Playful.
It's not like naturally funny.
No, it's playful, and it's
Yeah.
trying to like play on itself. Like so.
I'm a big fan of Kristen Bell and Ted Danson, and you get a lot of Ted Danson and Kristen Bell in the show.
And Ted Danson had a really good show that came out on Netflix too, like recently. It's fun.
Really?
It's light, but it's very, very fun. It's like he pretends to go undercover at a retirement home.
Oh, fun.
Yeah, so
Cool. All right, that's a good list. Definitely a good list. Lots of a good reasoning behind your choices there. So, Matt, we'll go to you next. All right. So 5-1 top all-time favorite TV shows.
So this might be a little blasphemous to you.
Okay.
Game of Thrones, number 5.
Okay.
Number 4, Supernatural. Number 3, How I Met Your Mother. Number 2, The Office. And number 1, Scrubs.
Okay. Game of Thrones at number 5. I don't know if I would consider that blasphemous, because again, if we're talking about best TV shows, I would expect it to be higher. But again,
this is
your personal
personal
list. So
Yeah.
I cannot. These lists are uncriticizable. All right, there's no way you can
They're
logically
bulletproof.
criticize someone's favorites list.
no, and I would say like as far as like if you were to pick out top 5 best episodes, I think Game of Thrones is one of my favorite episodes or best.
Yeah, I think best for sure, but favorites, yeah. So Game of Thrones,
Number 5, yeah.
number 5. All right, number 4,
Number 4 was Supernatural.
Supernatural, the never-ending show.
Hey, it did end after like 16 seasons. But I really liked like the family aspect of Supernatural. Like, yes, it's the boys fighting demons, ghosts, and everything in between with supernatural beings, but it kind of always comes back down to the relationship between the two main characters, Sam and Dean. And I just really, I really gravitated to that, because as an only child, I've always been like, man, I want like a brother that like I can go to, that's like my ride or die.
Yeah.
Game of Thrones kind of does hit that too with like the Starks. They're very ride or die for each other, and so it's like now that I'm looking at this list like top down, I'm like, it's a lot of big like family, or like that's like their best friends who are like, that's like my brother essentially.
Yeah. Side note, did you see they brought dire wolves back from extinction?
Yeah, well, it's like a whole like they messed with the genome of gray wolves that kind of has done what they're saying, but it's not really dire wolves. They just messed with the gray wolves genome to give it the traits that it needed to be a dire wolf.
Matt, don't fight it, okay? Just accept it and enjoy it. They brought dire wolves back, okay? The fantasy nerd in you, I know, just wants to just accept it and believe it.
Is this really cool? 100%. But there's a lot of movies out there that say bringing back things that are extinct might not be the best idea. And I just love that scientists said, yeah, nah, we're going to do it.
Fuck it.
Let's bring. What are we going to bring back next, guys?
What's
So
next?
I watched this movie over the weekend called Jurassic Park. Let's do it, Tommy. Number 3, How I Met Your Mother. This was probably one of the first series that I ever watched on Netflix, and I was like, next episode, and then immediately I was hit with there is no new episode, and I was like, no. I think I love the sitcom, but I really did love the friendship that the group had, even though it gets a little weird and a little bit in the later seasons between everybody, but like it was really great relationship building between the whole cast. The Office never fails to make me laugh.
Yeah.
Never fails. I can't begin to tell you. I'll go back and rewatch episodes, like the episode where Robert California is telling Ed Helms' character Andy to not hire his wife. And just the you lying son of a bitch. I don't know what it is. It's the emphasis. Just kills me every time. Absolutely love The Office. And then Scrubs. As much as I laugh at The Office, Scrubs gives me my laughs, and it gives me my favorite thing of like two best friends who are like kind of like bros just bonding. JD and Turk are probably like my favorite on-screen best friend brothers. And yeah, I watch Scrubs on my high days, on my low days. Scrubs is my favorite TV series.
Nice.
And it doesn't exist after season 7. Someone tried to tell me that there was a medical school. That's not real.
Wait.
The medical school is not real.
Wait.
That never happened.
Can I just call something out?
What's up?
Like, can you run down the list real quick?
From top to bottom
Yes.
again? Game of Thrones, Supernatural, How I Met Your Mother, The Office, Scrubs.
Okay. So I see a reoccurring theme, and I don't know. I feel bad calling it out, but I'm going to call it out because I have to. I think all of those shows went a little longer than they should have. And they had those not so good seasons that you're talking about where like, yeah, the one after for Scrubs, like it probably shouldn't have been made. But then we were controversial about like Game of Thrones in their last season, right?
Okay.
Supernatural went a little bit longer, and I'm gonna tell you, like, I watched the entire thing. There's like 2 seasons in there that I was like, can I just get through this? Can I just get through this? How I Met Your Mother, when they came back and met the mother, that last season too. So,
I mean, that's not a bad observation. I think that logic can
It's just
definitely be applied to all of those shows. I haven't seen a lot of them, but the general consensus that I hear around Supernatural and How I Met Your Mother is that it's definitely like they could have ended sooner, or they could have been a little more constricted, I guess.
Yeah.
I can't say the same thing for Scrubs because I haven't watched Scrubs, and I know that there were the spin-off series or the spin-off series that people like to pretend doesn't exist, but I didn't know that the original show was like something that people thought should have ended earlier.
I don't think for the original show. I think it's because people do think that the medical school is an extension of the main series, but it's not. It is.
Okay, it's its own thing.
It does have its own like subtitle.
Gotcha.
But no, I mean, and for The Office, I mean, yeah, the after Michael left, it is rough for like that whole season after, but I don't think The Office ever overstayed its welcome. At least I don't think it did.
I mean, and we'll get into it because The Office is obviously going to be on my list as well. But I think it did. I think
you do. Oh dang!
I think it could have. I think the show could have and should have ended with
Michael leaving.
With Michael leaving. Yeah, not that I didn't appreciate and enjoy James Spader, but in season 8 and then Andy in season 9. Spoiler alert, I guess. But it was just sort of like, yeah, guys, we're sort of just treading water here. We know the end is inevitable, so let's just like let's wrap it up before we ruin a good thing, you know. But no, that's definitely a solid list. Got mostly comedies.
Yeah.
With the exception of, is Supernatural a comedy?
Nah, it has comedic elements, but it's more of a serious supernatural series.
Wasn't there a full episode where they went through like infomercials or commercials or something?
Yes, there's a thing. There's a reason behind that. There's also an episode where they do a crossover of Scooby Doo. There's also a musical episode.
But it's not a comedy.
It's not. It's got comedy elements, but it's a lot more of the supernatural, horror-esque. I mean, would you say X-Files is a comedy?
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I mean, I know X-Files kind of had those like goofy episodes every now and then,
but never goofy to the point where they were like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah, no,
and like,
okay.
You know.
But like the whole break, I can't even go into explaining it to you because time-wise it'd be a lot. But like, there's a reason why that happens.
Okay.
They're not really like breaking the fourth wall. It's because they're forced into it. It's a whole thing.
Fair enough. All right. I guess I'm the last one that needs to go. So 5-1 for me. 5 is going to be The Amazing Race. 4 is going to be Lost. 3 is going to be The Wire. 2 is going to be The Sopranos, and 1 is going to be The Office.
Dang. Yeah. I did not call competitions going to be in your list with The Amazing Race.
You know, I don't want to say I tried not to add it on there, but there was just no world where The Amazing Race isn't on, because I have watched every season of The Amazing Race multiple times. And there are 37 seasons. Yes, like it's a show that like I've watched every season multiple times.
Louis wants to give me shit for having long seasons, shows that stayed longer. 37 seasons? There's 37 seasons of Amazing Race.
Of The Amazing
But
Race.
how many episodes are in each season? Like 12?
12 to 13.
Yeah, not 20, 30.
Yeah, like 24 for Supernatural.
Exactly. Yeah. So,
dang, that's a lot for Amazing Race. Okay, so why The Amazing Race, and what was your number 4?
Number 4 was Lost.
Lost.
So The Amazing Race is just it's a show that I put on all the time. I love competition reality shows. I'm a huge fan of competition reality. I love seeing the great thing about The Amazing Race versus something like Survivor or something like The Challenge is that it's all competition. My least favorite parts about shows like The Challenge or Survivor are the social aspects of it, where you have to try to play the politics game, you know, where it's just so that takes me out of it a little bit. Like there are literally seasons of The Challenge where I will fast forward. They do the challenge, you know, early in the episode, and then there's like the nominating period where they have to nominate the person to go into elimination, and then there's like a 20-minute segment about them going to a club or a bar or drinking and talking. Several episodes I have like gotten past the initial challenge, saw who was going to elimination, and then just fast forwarded through
to the elimination.
to the elimination, because it just gets so grating. It gets so annoying. Like, I don't need to see. And that's where I feel like people start to act. That's why I feel like you get these reality stars, quote unquote, who are starting to become actors, you know, and trying to get more camera time or trying to, you know, fight for attention, which that's just not for me. I've never been the person who's enjoyed that aspect of reality TV. So The Amazing Race is just from start to finish, people going through, trying to do these challenges and get to the finish line faster than the other teams. There is no political or social game to it. Now that could be argued because there are things like U-turns or ways to like stop other teams from doing well, but 90% of the time the team that's getting targeted is the team that's doing the best in the race overall. So there isn't really a politics game. It's like, hey, how do we get ahead? We try to take down the strongest team, which just makes sense, you know. Like there are alliances, quote unquote, but there's also just hey, we're just trying to get ahead. So I love The Amazing Race. Again, it's just fast paced, high octane. I love watching all the challenges, I like putting myself in their position to see if I would be able to do these challenges. You know, you always think that you are able to, but you know, probably a lot of them I wouldn't be able to do. Yeah, no, it's just a fun show. We watch it so much that my daughter, my 2-year-old daughter, she started to get into it too. So she'll say,
no
like,
way.
yeah, she'll literally ask to watch The Amazing Race. So
That's crazy.
yeah, no, it's just a great show, and I couldn't there was no world where I wasn't adding that to my list, you know, because we're talking about favorites, and it is one of my all-time favorite shows. Yeah, Lost is another one that people might be like, what? Lost is just a great show. I know a lot of people, I know it's fun to hate on Lost. I know people like it's the cool thing is to point out all the plot holes and point out all the issues and, you know, talk about how they didn't know the ending before they started writing the show, and, you know, they were just making it up as they were going along, which all those things could very well be true, but it is still one of them, in my opinion, one of the most well-written, most engaging, most exciting shows that I've ever watched. Like it's just really everything that I want in the show. Like J.J. Abrams, the creator, had a segment on I think he just did like some he did like a talk, like a public forum talk, you know, like a TED talk before TED Talks, about like the mystery box, you know, TV show where you have a thing that the audience doesn't know, like Severance, where it's like people, like you just reveal little bits and pieces as the show goes on, and just how that makes just such enticing television. And I agree, same thing with like The Good Place, like it's just this idea of like keeping the audience on the hook, feeding them little by little, and it just makes for such good TV. And that's just, with Lost, it was the same thing. Like it's just so good, and it was so fun to watch it for the first time, like learning information little by little, like, you know, making yourself think about all these different theories. Like I didn't watch Lost when it was on TV, but I almost wish I had, because like I can't imagine, like, you know, message boards and forums, like, you know, sharing theories and theorizing, sort of like what Severance is doing now for people. But yeah, just really just like, again, creating that community of people like who are super into this thing and are trying to figure it out, but probably no one ever will, because like you don't, you know, you're not in the minds of the creator. So no, it's just a great show.
There's always gonna be that one guy. I called it 5 years ago. Shut up.
Yeah, like from The Good Place. What was it? Doug? I can't remember what it was. But there's a guy in The Good Place because The Good Place is about. There's a little bit of a tangent about like the afterlife, obviously.
Yeah.
But it's not like heaven and hell. It's like the good place and the bad place. And they're like, in one of the first episodes, they're like, oh man, so none of the religions got it right. And the, you know, Ted Danson's character, he's like, well, a few of them did. A few of them got close, but it was like the only person who got like 98% right was this guy named Doug something. And it was like he was at a frat party and took some mushrooms and then just went on this long tirade of what he thought the afterlife was. And he was like, yeah, and he got about 98% of it right. It's like,
and they have him framed.
Yeah, they have a framed picture of him in the, yeah.
What the heck?
But anyway, so yeah, it's just a really great show. I love Lost, and I will always defend Lost, because again, that's what, you know, people like to do. They like to, it's a show that's easy to make fun of, but it's just a really good show, and I will argue that to my dying day. Number 3 was The Wire. I love The Wire. It's like one of my favorite shows to rewatch, just because it has such great rewatchability. Each season like tackles a different sort of theme, but you have this through line of characters that are in each season. Is my introduction to Idris Elba, playing Stringer Bell, who's one of the most iconic characters of all time, in my opinion. Just a really cool, really, really good show. Same thing with The Sopranos. I'm most connected to that show because I used to watch that with my mom every Sunday. Like, it was just a super, obviously well-written show. I didn't know it was well-written when it was on TV.
Yeah.
Because it was like on TV when I was like in my early teens. Yeah, but it was just a great show. But the connection there is because I used to watch it with my mom. And then, yeah, obviously number 1 being The Office, because there's never a point in my life where I'm not watching The Office. I started watching The Office when I was about 17, and I've lived. There's literally not been a point in my life since I was 17 that I have not been watching The Office.
Dang.
And I'm 34. So for the past 17 years of my life, I have been watching The Office literally on a loop. Like it's my comfort show. It's my go-to show. I could probably quote most of the series. But yeah, going back to what we were talking about with Matt, it probably should have ended a couple of seasons before it did. Those last 2 seasons are a bit rough. If I'm doing a rewatch, like I always am, those 2 seasons are where I sort of tune out a little bit, and then I get excited because I get to start at season 1 again. But yeah, no, there's a lot of honorable mentions that I won't get to because, like I said, I'm going to lock myself into this top 5. But yeah, no, those are my 5.
What is it about like The Office or the characters, or like, do you have a favorite part of it or a favorite character? Like,
I think The Office is just funny. I think it's truly like one of the funniest things I've ever seen. I've like I said, I watched this continuously for 17 years. There are still scenes that make me laugh. Like what? Like that makes no sense.
Yeah.
Like I've seen this show hundreds of times, literally, and I still laugh at moments. Like that does not compute. Like you should not laugh at the same joke you've heard hundreds of times, right? But I still do, and I think it's just because of the comedic timing of specifically Steve Carell is just like the GOAT in my opinion of comedy actors. He's just so good. He's so natural. There are moments where you hate Michael Scott. There are moments where you love Michael Scott. There are moments where you pity Michael Scott. There are moments where Michael Scott frustrates you. Like his character is just such a great character. And just the dynamic between all the other characters in the show, like it's about such a mundane topic, it's just like these people working at a paper company. That shouldn't be compelling television, but it is. Just because ordinary life is compelling, that's what we all do. We all live ordinary lives for the most part. But it's just it's just such a relatable show. It's so easy to connect with the characters. And that's a part of the reason why I didn't like the later season is the characters started to become caricatures of themselves, where it was like, we're going to take this one little quirk that this character has and amplify it times 100. And that's where it starts to get a little bit sticky for me because I'm like, man, like I liked the hyper realism of The Office in like the early seasons 1 through 5 specifically. It peaked in season 5 for me. Season 6 was still really good. Season 7 had its moments, but yeah, seasons 1 through 5 was where it was at.
I respect. That's a good solid list, man.
Yeah. And again, bulletproof because it's my favorite.
Yep.
So nothing you can say.
No one can say boo.
Can't say shit. Keep your comments to yourself. No, unless you agree with it.
Well, I haven't watched more than half of yours. I think The Office and Game of Thrones. No,
Game of Thrones wasn't on mine.
No, what was number 5?
Amazing Race. You've seen episodes.
I've seen episodes. I like it, and I think you and I, we like that aspect of like the reality shows that have the competition because I love the challenge. I watch it with my family, so it's just like having to go through stuff and seeing people be able to like just enjoy it while also winning and challenging themselves. That was really cool. So
absolutely
solid list. I'm gonna check out the 3 in between.
Yeah, The Wire and The Sopranos are shows I think everybody should watch at some point. And they're short. Like they're like, and when I say short, like Sopranos 6 seasons, like 10, 12 episodes max, so 60 episodes. The Wire 5 seasons, sorry, with 10 episodes. So
cool. Not
like a super long commitment. The opposite of Matt's list, where you need about a year to get through his.
I don't know what you're talking about. You just put Scrubs on play and just look away for a little bit.
All right, Matt, you wanted to have a conversation about adulthood, right? What's your?
Yeah. So super sorry. I just turned 33 back in March, and I found this conversation topic that was. I'm gonna get this pulled back up.
Get some Jeopardy music in here.
As a teen, what did you think adulthood would be like? I can go first. I definitely, at like 16, 17, I thought by 30, I was going to be married, 2 kids, well into my career. and living that white picket life fence. And I can say that saying, you want to make God laugh, tell him your plans. Whew, man, I am nowhere near that. Not that I am upset by any means of where I'm at today, but it is just so funny thinking back on, like, as a kid, I was like, oh, dude, I'm going to have all this financial freedom. I'm going to eat and buy whatever I want. No one's going to tell me what I can and can't do. And I'm like, my body told me straight up what I can and can't eat. Because it said, hey, that makes you sick, and if you continue to eat it, I will make you worse. Buy whatever I want. I can, with great difficulty, depending upon, how my bills want to land that month. And then, it just was so crazy to me to think about how, like, we just thought as teens, we were like, oh, man, being an adult, we're gonna run everything. It's gonna be great. And now I'm like, yo, I miss the simplicity of being a teenager. I don't miss, like, school or, like, anything like that, but I like waking up, not having a bill to worry about, not having to worry about paying for gas to get somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Someone says, hey, we're going to walk 3 miles somewhere. As a teenager, I was like, let's go. That's light work. Let me get my bike. We're going to get this done. So it just was so funny to me to think about how, like, I thought of what adulthood would be like as a child. I would want to hear from you two. So Adonis, what did you think? What did young scholar Adonis think that adulthood would be for him?
Man, I thought I was going to be the leader of the revolution at this point. No, but no, teenage Adonis definitely. I was naive, like all of us were. We all thought that we would be leading these, crazy lives, probably multimillionaires by now, as you should. As a child, as a teen, it's good to have dreams bigger than maybe you honestly could achieve, because you don't want to dream small when you're that young and impressionable and malleable. You want to have big dreams. So I'm glad that I had those big dreams. And obviously there are things that I would have done differently if I could go back, but maybe not, because I don't have the life I expected to have, but I have no complaints about my current life. But no, what did I think I would be doing? I definitely didn't expect to be in Arizona. I thought that I would be living probably in a bigger city like in New York or in LA. I thought I would have more kids. I thought I would have started having kids probably around like the 25-year mark, but I didn't start until I was 33. Obviously, like I said, I had big dreams. I wanted to be a judge, surprisingly enough, when I was a teenager. Yeah, the plan was to go to school, go to law school, become a lawyer, and then become a judge. Just because I wanted to be, because judges have a lot of power and they have a lot of
Sway?
Not sway, but they can make, they have the ability to make change.
Oh, gotcha.
And I didn't want to be a politician. I didn't want to be someone who had to sort of campaign to make change. I wanted to just be someone who could make change. I wanted to become a lawyer to become a judge, but the end goal was always to become a judge. Then I realized that wasn't going to be a reality, because I just couldn't see myself in school for that long. And then obviously there were dreams of becoming like a filmmaker, like living in Hollywood, producing indie films. I actually wanted to be a documentary filmmaker above everything else. In my early adolescence, early adult life, I wanted to be a documentary filmmaker. That I want to say that dream died recently, but that was a dream that took me into my late 20s, I think. And then I realized, okay, that's probably not going to happen either. And I think there comes a time in your life where you have to realize the life you want may not be the life that's attainable. So you kind of have to start like living for the life that you can have. That kind of sounds sad. And I think a lot of people will fight you on that because there are a lot of dreamers out there who are like, no, it's never too late. You can always achieve your dreams,
Yeah.
and be what you want to be, and that is very true. And if there are any young listeners, like, yeah, don't ever like quote unquote settle. But I do think that there comes a time where you kind of have to be realistic, and I do think it's a time where you again, like uh a very mediocre rapper had a line that said, happiness isn't about getting what you want all the time. It's about loving what you have. And I think that there's real truth in that. Like, stop trying to live for the life that you think you should have and start appreciating the one that you do. Because you don't ever want to be, or at least I never wanted to be, the person that was always wanting, a great rapper, J. Cole, it has the song Love Yours, where it's like always going to be something better than what you have. But you're not going to be happy until you start to love what you have. So stop looking at the things that you don't have and just start appreciating the things that you have. So that mindset has really helped me in my early 30s, and I think it will help me throughout the rest of my life, just because I may not be exactly where I wanted to be when I was younger, but I don't have really anything to complain about with what I have. And I do love the life I have. I love my wife. I love my daughter. I love my friends. So it's like, there's no complaints from me. But again, if you were to tell maybe 17-year-old Adonis that, hey, this is where you're going to be in 17 years, I do think it would have been like, oh no, I'm going to do so much more. I'm going to have so much more. I'm going to be that person who's, making an impact on the world. And it's like, I'm gonna just start to focus on making an impact on my world, and doing what I can do and controlling what I can control. And again, I know that might sound like a defeatist take, especially for someone like, oh, you're only 34, like you have so much to do, like left to live and do. And it's like true, and it's not like I'm giving up on achieving my dreams or living my life, but like I'm going to start and I already have. I've already made this transition, but I'm now appreciating what I have rather than thinking about what I don't have or what I could have, that's where I'm at with it.
I mean, and that's just so much better for like your mental state too.
Absolutely.
Like exactly how J. Cole said it. Like you have to love yours.
Yeah.
No, and I'm happy to see that. I'm happy to hear that you're seeing that now, because I feel like you and I have had conversations before where you're like, man, I wanted to be doing these things. I wanted to be here, and here. And it's like, it weighs down on you when you're like, all the things that I haven't done. Mm-hmm. It just, for me, when I turned 30, I'll be upfront with you, that was like an existential crisis for me. There was that stupid song not stupid song, I love it, but the song by Bo Burnham. Yeah. I'm turning 30. And I was like, that came out when I was 28, 29. Yeah. And I was like, oh man, listening to that like the night before my 30th birthday, I was like, I used to, everything he's saying, I was like, I used to be there. Oh my God. Yeah. But yeah, taking that and being able to say, I'm happy with what I currently have, and I can make the impact here, I think, again, mentally is just going to help you out. Yeah. And it helps out everybody.
Yeah. And like we talked about this in a previous episode, but like your purpose, like redefining your purpose. Like, you might have had a purpose or an idea of what those big lifelong goals that you can accomplish are. But again, if you're just continuing to put time and effort into goals that you're probably not going to achieve, like you're going to end up achieving, I don't want to say nothing, but you would have been better served to redirect that purpose and that drive and energy into something else, something maybe that's not any less important, but just different than what your initial take on life was, So I think reshifting your purpose or reshifting your focus on what your purpose is just a mature way to live life, and it's ultimately gonna make you happier, and it's ultimately gonna make you feel more satisfied with your life.
Yeah, awesomely said, man. Luis, what about you, my dude?
So teenage Luis was in a really weird place, because again, like, me finding out that I wasn't a U.S. citizen, U.S. resident didn't happen until after graduation and stuff. So like me, I thought I was going to be like, okay, once I graduate, I'm going to buy an Element. It's going to be a forest green Element. I'm going to road trip across the country, meet someone, and then we'll get married. We'll have a couple kids. And then I wanted to be a detective. I wanted to be a wanted to go into medicine or medical school. That didn't pan out, and I didn't like seeing the behind the scenes of what actually happens in hospitals and the process and like the coldness of it. So like I changed career paths quite a bit, and then at some point, with the mariachi, I was like, all right, I'm gonna be a professional singer and perform, and that's a lot of work, and you gotta know the right people, and then even when you know people, there's a dark side to it too. There really is. Like, you talk to some of the professional, semi-professional or professional players, and they're living, gig to gig and sending money, but then they're also like, there's a lot of drinking, there's drugs behind the scenes, there's so many and like the lack of respect, the entitlement that comes along with it too. I was just like, I can't follow along in that sense. So like, I'm glad that like all of these little things came up, and then like I took different pivots. It still would have been cool to like follow up with a little bit of mariachi, and then just like follow one of my best friends, one of my mentors at the time, to Dallas and to live that life. And here's where I say, like, it's never too late in certain parts. You still get to have a little bits and pieces. For me, I think nowadays, like you said, you love yours, but also like experience as much as you can. I make this comparison to like my associates, my employees. I tell them, and this is just my own take, like, all mad respect for anyone that does one thing and masters it. But just growing up, I've learned that like being a jack of all trades for me, and a master of maybe one or two has been more beneficial for me than trying to master one thing and be frustrated when you're like hitting a wall, when you have an area where you don't see development, you don't see the results that you get. It's just like, it is so draining. At times. Like a
jack of all trades, because the saying is jack of all trades, master of none. Yeah. But you want to change that from jack of all trades, master of one
or two. And that's the thing, is like, when you're growing, you should focus on like one thing that you want to like be really good at, and the center of it for me is the development of myself and others. Like, if I'm able to help other people kind of just grow in the sense, then I think I've mastered that skill. And I've been able to apply it. Like I've seen the impact that I've had with some of my students in mariachi, and none of it comes to me, but I gave them a place and a start and someone to like support them in their goals. And so same thing with some of like my employees. Like, I've seen them move up, move out. It's really cool. Like, I had an amazing like crew member that he's like, well, school's not going so well, but I want to do this. And I'm like, go for it, man. Like, you're young, move out there, see what you can do, and you end up making it to the NFL. Like, and then there's doctors, other things. So just a little bit of support goes a long way in caring. So I'm going back to like different traits. If you experience as much as you can in life, you can learn a little bit more of different things. And I said I make that comparison because, like, if you just focus on the one role in your job, yes, you're gonna grow, but then you're gonna need to be well balanced in all your other areas, right? If you're gonna get to like an executive level, you're gonna need to know how to draft an email, or public speak, or produce a product, or have public relations. And so it's better to like take little bits and pieces bit by bit than to just focus on the one thing. That might be a little bit of my ADHD too, though, but I'm glad, and I like you said, I've loved the way my life has played out. I have setbacks, but I get stronger every time I fall, and I mean, life doesn't get easier, right? You just get stronger. But for me, like, the weight of those setbacks and the weight of like how heavy the world, especially right now and with everything going on, I can say that I don't carry that on me anymore. So like I said, glad it didn't pan out the same way that I thought it was, because like that Luis, I don't know what he would have been doing right now. He would have shut off, half his brain and just work mode, and then
Yeah.
but
All right. Well, thank you guys for going down this, answering this little question for me, and my little secondary midlife crisis at 33 now.
Getting up there, man.
I know.
Yeah.
I can feel the grays in my beard. They're not there yet, but I feel them.
after this last weekend, I know I have grades.
All right. So with that being said, we're going to take one last break, and we'll come back and close the show up for you guys. All right. Stick around.
All right. So, a lot of birthdays going around right now, and as I was getting into my friend's birthday gathering last night, they're not parties anymore. And when we get older, they become gatherings.
Whatever you need to tell yourself, man.
Extravaganzas or banquets. What's the other one? Brunches?
Shindigs?
Just
But I was getting there, and there is this a ritual. I don't know if it's religious. I don't know if it's just practice, something that he grew up with. But I kind of found it to be like a quirk, because it's not necessarily what I do at my own home. But we walked in, and first thing we do is we take off our shoes, right?
Mm.
And I don't necessarily want to talk about quirks, but I did want to talk about, like, is there any, like, particular practices, let's say, that growing up it was a common thing to do, getting home and sitting down, like, and where did they come from? Because, like, truthfully, like, maybe I gotta call him up and ask him, hey, why do we take our shoes off when we walk into your place? Because, like, my usual thing is I get home, I can get comfortable, but I'll go to my room first, and that's where I, like, take things out of my pockets, take my keys off, and then get comfortable with, like, shoes off, socks off.
Interesting. So, I mean, we're talking more, that's like traditions, like maybe traditions we don't know the root of, and we just still sort of abide by.
Yeah, exactly. So, like, I wanted to know if you guys have something that you, like, follow. It's a house rule that you follow, and why? Because, again, growing up, like, we didn't do that.
Oh yeah, I mean, that's definitely an interesting question. There are still things that were a part of my childhood that I sort of just continue to do just because they were a part of my childhood. One of where Matt and I work at a company, and our CEO told a story. I don't know if Matt will remember this, but during one of our meetings where, and I can't remember what the tie-in was for the corporate world, but basically, like, when his family or his mom or whatever would make a ham, right? They would make a ham for, like, Thanksgiving or for Christmas, and part of the preparation for the ham was to cut the ends off, and then put then you dress the ham, you put all the seasonings on it and stuff, and then you put it in the oven. So he said that one time someone had, like, asked, like, hey, what's the, like, I understand the seasonings and all this other stuff, like, why do you cut the ends off of the ham? And his mom or his wife was just like, I don't know, it's just something that we always do. We've always sort of just, that's just a part of the preparation for it. So they reached out to the person that they had learned that from, and, like, so the grandmother, I guess, in this scenario, and the grandma was like, well, I didn't have a pan that was big enough to fit the whole ham, so I had to cut the ends off to make it fit, so it's like, it was just something that you did, that was, like, the tradition, but it was, like, at the beginning, it had a reason, but it was just something that you just did because, the previous generation had done it. So, yeah, I think that there are things that, like, I think there is a lesson in that, obviously, like, sometimes some traditions are outdated, so let's maybe, reevaluate our traditions and not just follow them blindly, But anyway, I digress.
So what were some of yours? No, like,
yeah, so for us, so, I mean, again, mine aren't that, like, profound. Like, when I was growing up, like I said, I have 4 siblings, so there's 5 of us in the house. So one of the things that we used to do that I had to sort of train my brain not to do anymore was, like, let's say there was 5 boxes of, like, breakfast cereal, and like each different, like you have your Cheerios, your Captain Crunch, your Corn Pops, or whatever. Like the rule in our house was if someone opened a box, none of the other boxes could be opened until that first box was gone. So it's like if my brother got downstairs early for breakfast and opened up the Cheerios, I'd be like, shit, I wanted Corn Pops, but now I have to have the Cheerios until the Corn Pops or the other way around. So yeah, even as an adult, sometimes I'll buy multiple of something, and then I'm like, oh man, I really want some, frosted mini wheats right now, which no one has ever said in the history of the world. but just for the sake of the story. But I was like, oh man, but I already opened up the Golden Graham, so I have to finish those. But it's like, Adonis, you're a 30-year-old man. You can open up multiple boxes of cereal. Like, there's nothing stopping you from opening up another box of cereal. Or like, say, oh, you have to eat dessert after you eat dinner. It's like, bro, I'm a man. If I want a slice of cake, I'm just gonna eat a slice of cake. I don't have to there is no rules against eating a slice of cake for breakfast if I wanted to. Should you be doing that? Probably not, but I can if I want to. Like, I'm not gonna get in trouble. I don't have to worry about, a parent or someone telling me that that's a no-no. But yeah, things like that are just like rules that were like sort of rules as kids that we had that I still have trouble like not following as an adult.
Yeah. So did your mom do it or make you guys not open another box just because she didn't want to be wasteful? Because I get that, you open.
Yeah, I think it was a waste. I think it was an order thing as well, like just keeping everything ordered and organized, and
not having to go stale.
Exactly.
Okay. I mean, I get the reason behind that, and I will tell you, the whole eating what you want, first day after graduation, and it's like, I don't have to go to school. Mom's at work, dad's at work, siblings are in their different activities, but I've graduated.
Yeah.
I had pizza for breakfast and ice cream.
Yeah.
Best feeling ever. So just eat what you want in moderation. Don't
exactly. Yeah.
Make it make sense.
It's kind of it's kind of that saying. It's like, now that I'm an adult, nobody can stop me from going to the store and buying 30 packs of Gushers and eating them in one day.
Exactly.
The downside of being an adult is that nobody stops me from eating the 30 packs of Gushers in a day. And I 100%, I've been that guy. Yeah. Man, what's for breakfast? I'm going to eat fruit snacks. And I'm sitting there just like, this is all I've eaten today.
Yeah.
Oh, no. And so, yeah, I totally get that, though. The whole, making sure that only one thing is open. Because as I walked down, I opened up, oh, I really want these today. Yeah. And the Cheerios were opened already. Yeah. And then my grandma would be mad because she's like, no, that box was open. You need to open that one first. Yeah. You need to finish that one first. So it's always funny to hear that's, I think it's just a thing to not be wasteful.
Maybe it's a generational thing.
Yeah.
And were there anything else that you remember growing up or
So as of recently, because of the pandemic, whenever I come home from the store, or even if I go to someone's house, when I get home, I take my shoes off and I spray them with Lysol. And I leave them outside for 2 or 3 minutes, just because I don't want to bring germs into my house for dogs and stuff like my dogs and stuff like that. So that's why I take my shoes off at my house, and we tell people when they're coming into the house, spray your shoes with Lysol. Don't just come in without your shoes being cleaned.
Why don't you just vaccinate your dogs? I'm just kidding.
I was like, can you even? Also, I'm not trying to fight them to get them to take those shots because some of them are very spry. But yeah, so outside of that though, nothing else really comes to my mind for things that we did, little at home rituals, if you will. Yeah, nothing like that.
So I did have one, and I'm looking back at it, and it's a lot of sign of respect, and to more so for one person. I feel like for me, the way it comes across, the way it looks, is like a sign of power. Growing up, when we had my grandparents over, or even when we had meals and family was here, it's like we would set the table, and we would sit down, and my grandfather was always the first one served. Always.
Oh, okay.
But then everyone else would get served, right? And at times you'd look around and it's like there's kids and they're hungry, and it's like, no, you gotta wait. You gotta wait till everyone gets served. And it's like, but he already got served and he's eating. And it was one of those things. It's like, as a respect, yes, I still do that. I think it's only fair to, and it's not even fair. It's just a sign of respect. It's like, I'm gonna wait so that we can enjoy the meal together. So when we're at restaurants, like if you guys have ever seen me or noticed, like it's like I will, like, wait until everything comes out, or if something hasn't come out, until a person says, well, it's going to take a while, or if they've made a mistake. It's all like, or you're okay to start eating it. And it's not like, are you sure? I just want to wait and enjoy it together.
Yeah.
But the big thing, like I said, was like with my grandfather, and I have my own issues with the patriarch and with, the relationship that I had with him. But a big thing of it was just like, you wait until he served and everyone else is served to start eating, and then you finish your plate. And I get the finish your plate thing. It's like, it's a cultural thing. You don't want to waste that. I don't. It might be an everyone or generational thing.
Yeah, I think it's a class thing too. I think as we're growing up, very near the poverty line, and at some points below it, it was like, you don't like you eat. First of all, you eat what I give you. And you finish what I give you. It was like, man, these, not to sound like an old curmudgeon, but like kids these days have no idea how good they have it. Like if I didn't like what was being served, then I just went hungry. Yeah. It wasn't like, go in there, fix yourself something that you want to eat. No, it was like, hey, if we're having chili tonight and you don't feel like chili, then you're going to go to bed hungry. Like, you eat what I give you. So it's like we didn't really have the luxury of being picky when I was growing up, and you ate what you ate. And again, with five of us in the house, like 7, including my mom and my granddad who lived with us for most of my life, like it was like you eat, you're probably not going to get that big of a serving. Not to say, guys, I wasn't Oliver Twist growing up, but
please,
it's like it was never like it was always like a big family meal type of thing. So spaghetti, chili was always big, like
something big and shareable.
Yeah, exactly. Where my mom wasn't making 7 steak fillets,
right?
Like, so but it was like I think it's a class thing too, because I think you have to eat. And you need to eat what we give you, because this is going to be probably your only meal tonight, and you're not going to eat again till breakfast. So,
well, and I was going to ask you, like, you said you either eat or you go hungry, and I was like, I never got the luxury or the option to go hungry. I had to eat my food. But with 5 people, I'm sure your brothers
force feed us. Yeah, it's like or
brothers would eat it,
or someone else would eat it.
Yeah. My grandma, what she would do is I played chicken with her, and I realized she has time. So what happened was she made liver and onions, and a young Matthew, and even to this day, I do not like liver and onions. I was like, Grandma, I don't want this. And she's like, I don't care. I cooked that. You're going to eat it. And I was like, no, I'm not. She's like, well, you're not leaving this table till you do. So we sat there, and at the time, the way that our kitchen was, we had a little TV at the top of the fridge where she could watch her novellas. And so we're just sitting there watching her novellas, and I'm just like, what's going on right now? She's like, oh, that's the brother. He's come back from the dead. They thought it was actually his evil twin, Ramon, that killed him. Oh, man, okay. I get up to, like, sneak away. Yeah. Is that liver done? No. Sit back down. 2 hours. 2 hours. I ate cold liver. I didn't leave. And so that... Yeah, I think it might be a class thing, but I think it's also like a sign of respect. Like if I made this for you, like you don't just get to walk away from what I get made. But it always blew my mind as a kid, hearing other like family members or other kids who like, I just walk away really because I was scared. Yeah, I was thinking for sure my grandma would get me. I had a cousin who went on not an eating strike, but he would not eat anything unless it was McDonald's chicken nuggets. And I was like, I'm sitting there like, if I tried that, I'm pretty certain that I'm just not gonna be here anymore. Like I'm getting in trouble.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's like a class thing, but like it's a respect thing too, though. Like you're not gonna sit there and say, oh, I don't want this. I made it. You're gonna eat this.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think, to the one friend, happy late birthday too. I think he's listening. I hope he's listening. But
you want to give a shout out? I mean,
we'll give a shout out. Yeah, no, shout out Hades. Happy belated.
Happy belated, brother.
I'm gonna tell you, like, going on to like the shoes at the door, like I respect your ritual. So I'm gonna keep doing it. I hope it's because you just want to keep your house clean.
I said probably. I mean that sounds to me just like a hygiene thing. Like
Yeah.
But I am curious why.
You watch like one video of what people do at like truck stops or like QTs. I watched this lady break a bag on the ground, and that bag was yellow. I don't want to know what it was, but we can assume what it was.
Yeah.
Right there in the parking lot, and it's like, yeah, you really don't know what you're walking in.
into.
What caused that sticky thing that you're stepping on? Do you really know?
Do you want to know?
Do you even want to know?
That makes me reconsider.
Yeah, I'm just saying. I get the no shoes.
Yeah.
Totally get it.
Cool. All
right, so that is going to wrap it up for us today. Before we head out of here, obviously, we're gonna let you guys know where you can find us on online. So if you guys are looking to follow us on any streaming service, we're on YouTube, we're on Spotify, we're on iHeartRadio, we are on Amazon Music. So you can find us on all those platforms at Drink Easy, Speak Easy. You can also find us on Blue Sky at Drink Easy, Speak Easy. And Luis, where can they find us on the social medias?
TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. All Drink Easy, Speak Easy.
All right, guys. So as we do with every episode, we're going to close this one out with a toast. It's going to be Matt's.
All right. With the watered down remnants of my Bahama mama, here's to always loving what you have, but always still reaching for the stars.
Cheers.
Cheers.